This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. I'm Shane.
And I'm JP.
And it's late. It's a night owlish. It's almost 10 o'clock.
Yeah, our games went late today.
Yeah. This is like old guys complaining about not sleeping.
Yeah.
All the young guys out there are like, really? 10 o'clock? Seriously? Just getting ready to go out. So we used to be that way too, I promise. All right. So find us, doordisc.com, door_disc_golf. Our link tree's there. JP?
And we are night_pod. Wait, oh my God.
He'll get it, don't worry.
Night_owls_pod.
And that's on Instagram.
Yep.
And then throughout this, he said he would drop his OnlyFans today. So we'll see. All right, JP, do bad actions define a person?
Interesting. Actions speak louder than words.
That's what they say.
They always say. You know, sometimes I feel like good people can do bad things unintentionally or intentionally. But I think intent has a lot to do with it.
Sure.
Like, I just watched something. It was some stupid TikTok thing where this guy, decent guy, but like, I don't know, it was like from a movie or something, and he ended up hitting some like kid because like his parents didn't like discipline him.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
And so like they like file a suit against him, and the lawyer's he's
okay.
actually like a decent guy, but like this one time he's like pissed off at this kid and everything. But
I thought you were talking about the Adam Project, where Ryan Reynolds decks his old school bully.
no, I haven't seen that. That's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
Or Hulu, one of them.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah. You know, I think if it's a continuous habit of like bad actions, I think that starts to speak a lot about people. But if it's something that happens like out of the blue, and you're like, oh man, that's too bad that this happened to this person, I think that doesn't really define who a person is.
Do you think even though it was continuous bad actions that someone had or has, do you think that they have the ability to reform? You hear that, that's a hot button word.
Right.
Do you think reformation is that the proper way to say that?
I guess.
Reformation is possible?
Yeah, I think so. I think people always have the ability to change. It's just, do they want to? You know, like surrounding yourself with the people that enable you to change.
Right.
I think you have to surround yourself with those people. You can't be around enablers that are reinforcing your bad habits or bad actions.
True. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's that
nature over nurture, or nurture over nature.
Yeah, I think you said it right the first way. Yeah, it's that you make decisions in life and bad things keep happening. You keep doing that same thing. That just, there's something wrong with your brain.
Right.
At that point. That's kind of the definition of insanity, what they talk about. And I think with a lot of people, there are some times where emotions I'll get to my point here pretty soon.
Okay.
There's times where emotions and things can go crazy. Every once in a while. I don't think there's an issue with letting your emotions come out. And I think it's great to show emotions. I think it's a fantastic thing because it shows care, compassion, all those things. But when it happens over and over and over again, that's where it becomes clinical, crazy things. So talk about the person that just won Preserve. Little known fact. Well, maybe not so little known, but little known. He was suspended from the PDGA for indecent behavior for a period of 2 years. Well, 18 months, I think, is what it initially ended up being. And it was a huge uproar. Like Paul Macbeth boycotted. There was all kinds of things that happened. And, you know, I look back on the situation and what I remember, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. As far as why he got suspended. Yes, I guess it was quite often that it happened.
Yeah.
But I guess it ended up being when he shouldered, it was a camera guy or another player?
I don't remember who specifically it was.
Okay.
I mean, he did earn the name nickname Texas Cactus for a reason. He was very kind of standoffish, and he didn't really care about what people thought of him at the time.
Right.
You know, he just was there to throw the disc and couldn't care less about his actions or whatever happened, you know, based off of that.
But now, contrast to the reformed individual,
Right.
he seems fantastic. Very mellow, kind of non-reactionary, very Chris Dickerson-ish as far as his mood goes. He doesn't really react much. Very put together. Even after he won, like his interviews and even post-round interviews, like they were just fantastically, maybe a little too monotone in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
but
but that he's honest about.
Oh, right.
And I think I was listening to something today where he was being interviewed, and he's fairly forthcoming with information.
Oh, absolutely,
He has nothing to hide. So
yeah, and I think he said he went through a bit of anger management and counseling for his issues in the past. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, I wonder how many people still hold, his past actions against him, and how many people on the tour now breaking hands, kicking bags, constantly being called for certain things, and the blow-ups that people won't call them because of blow-ups. We're hedging around the bush. But, you talk about Nico, you talk about Eagle, you talk about, these famous blow-ups. Joel Freeman is another one. You talk about these famous blow-ups that are happening. Are they any better or worse? I can't really remember, because it wasn't that big of a deal to me with Bradley Williams. But to say he's like this, wow, big surprise win, he was awesome back in like 2016.
yeah,
He was a fantastic player.
yeah.
And prior to that.
I'm sure there's a guy that Bradley called up one day. It's like, hey man, I'm really sorry for what I did. And he's got the Billy Madison list, just crosses them off, puts the lipstick.
Sits back in his chair. Exactly.
Later on down the road, when Bradley's at like some tournament, show up, wave at him, and he ends up shooting the guy.
All right, we'll put him back on the list. So So anyways, I figured that was kind of the topic of discussion, where a lot of people don't know that, especially because a lot of people are COVID golfers.
Right.
A good majority of the players right now are COVID golfers. And I think a lot of folks didn't know that. Not that it's that important to define that guy, but to recognize that people can change and people will change willingly. So, well, I guess his was a little bit more by force because of the 18-month suspension. But so the only other person that was ever suspended was Josh Anthon that I can remember.
Yeah.
Top level.
Right.
Josh Anthon. And that wasn't even for something he did in the PDGA.
Yeah.
It was something outside of PDGA.
Yeah.
So whether that was right or not, it happened. So
It did.
We won't get into that. All right. What'd you buy? Thrower, hanger, flipper? No, I know what I bought today.
Well, I didn't buy it or them. I got a gift card to Discmania for Father's Day. So I ended up getting Sky Gods, and all I had to pay was shipping, which was pretty nice.
Very nice, very nice.
Well, and I went on, I knew you guys had them. And I was talking to Joe. I was like, Joe, I couldn't find them on the website. Like, I looked under putters. I should have just, like, wrote it in or whatever. But he's like, oh, yeah, we got them. I like, are they still in store? He's like, oh, yeah, we got a few. And then I was like, I found them, and there's a really cool rainbow stamp. And I was like, yes. And then I was like, it said sold out. I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. And then I tried to go on Lone Star because I had heard that all their new discs were, like, coming out, like the Bull Snake and the Dome and I forgot what the other ones are. Anyway.
Yeah, Chupacabra.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And then, like, I was having trouble putting my address in. And then I was like, well, okay, I'll just put in my street address. And because they don't use USPS, they use UPS. And by the time it got to shipping, I was like, this is way too much. Like, I'm not going to pay this amount of shipping to get this couple discs here. Because I was like, that's what, not that I don't want to support you, but I'm just going to wait till they get in the shop. So.
Sure. Yeah, we got, I think, about 3 more days.
Nice.
I got the UPS notifications. So
awesome.
We got quite a few penny putts coming in, and we got all 5 of the new releases. So we got the Chupacabra, the Dome, the Lariat, anyways.
Yeah.
Those 5.
Man, those penny putters just can't keep them in stock,
It's incredible. is incredible. Every time we walk in, I mean, there's someone like, oh, yeah, we'll get that. And it's not even without pushing it. I think it's just the fact that it looks like a penny.
Yeah.
And even the glow ones, people love them with the night vision goggles.
Yeah.
Like, they're really cool looking. So I did the same thing. I bought the Sky God. So I called because I was going into the shop and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and call because we have that. Oh, and here's a little plug. We still have some of the $50 possible giveaways. So the 50 bills, 50 packages. I think we got about 20 left. We went through about 30.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we got about 20 left, and we held the envelopes up to the light because we don't know which ones they are anymore.
Oh, okay.
We held them up to the light, and there are still some big bills in there.
Oh.
So still big bills. So
has anybody put out on social media their order to like see what they got?
Only one I've seen.
Okay.
They tagged us on the stories.
Yeah.
So and I shared it, but only one that I've seen, and it was only $1 bill.
Well, well, that's out there.
Yeah, exactly. There's a $1 bill out there. There's at least 45 of them. So, so what it ended up being was a 50, a 20, a 10, a 5, and a 2, and then the rest were ones.
Okay.
So you have that chance. So with the Sky God, not only do you get Sky God, and I think we have about 6 or 8 Sky Gods left.
Ooh, nice.
But they're kind of the normal stamps. They're just like purple on green, and I think we have. Well, anyways, I don't remember exactly.
I haven't seen any other like cool ones.
Yeah, we had the USA one that was on a pink.
Okay.
We had the rainbow ones, and we had the red on red. It was the red disc on red stamp. And then the rest of them are all kind of the green, the yellow. They're all monotone stamps, nothing crazy.
I haven't held it. Is it flat? Is it domey?
Oh, I have it downstairs, but there's a bit of a dome, so it's not. I wouldn't call it flat, but I wouldn't call it domey.
Okay.
They fly fairly overstable. We threw them for one of the YouTube videos, which I'm hoping we get them up pretty soon. We got about 4 videos filmed now. And yeah, they fly fairly stable. I think they're kind of comparable to the stability of like OG Slammer, kind of that nice bit of overstability. Yeah. I mean, I threw it pretty hard. I throw putters pretty well, and I threw it pretty hard, pretty flat. Just stood up, went straight, and bailed. So it was a pretty good one. I threw it about 260 or so. We were out at Jacksonport.
Nice.
So it was just nice, flat, no wind or anything. So they were great. So that's the only thing, and that will be a thrower for me. I'll throw it a couple times and then probably retire it because I don't throw P2s. So it'll stay in my bag for a little while, and then there you go. So preview today, we're going to do actually 2 listener bags because we're starting to stack up some, so we want to get through a few of them. And then we're going to talk about Preserve. We're going to talk about U.S. Champions, or U.S. Women's Championship. We'll do our picks, which is happening local to us. They're in Madison.
Yeah.
And then we have the random question today, and it's going to be a good one. And then we'll give some shop updates. I'll re-inform you about the promotion, and then we'll get on to our Monday episode, which you don't want to miss this Monday's episode because it's going to be about NES games.
More nostalgia.
More nostalgia.
Yeah.
I think we're staying on the key of nostalgia. I'm sure it'll come off of that one time, but that's all I can really think of. So here we go. Listener bags. Let's start with that. We have 2 listener bags, one from Nikolai Stratman, and then one from,
Jacob Kuhn.
Jacob Kuhn. So Jacob Kuhn is he's at Disc Golf Missionary, and he is in Germany. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he's starting, kind of trying to get people into disc golf. So he's teaching. He says he has, a group that he plays with, and he's trying to help them find discs. And he gave us what his discs are. And then Nikolai Stratman, there's no big backstory on him, and I don't have an @ for him, so I don't have any social media links for him. But what do you want to start with, Nikolai or Jacob?
Whoever.
All right, Jacob. Or Nikolai, sorry.
Okay.
So Nikolai says, hey there. Great idea in the new segment. I wanted to share my current bag and hear your thoughts on it. So putters. He has 2 links, EcoSoft. They made EcoSoft links?
Exosoft.
Oh, okay. It just must have been. Okay.
Yep.
I was like, Eco. I know they made an Eco plastic at
Yeah,
one
they
point.
did at one point, I think.
Yeah. Well, maybe they are. Well,
For sure.
Exosoft, I know for sure exists. So Nikolai, if we're wrong, email us or can
Yeah.
contact us in some way, shape, or form, but we're going to go with Exosoft. And he said they replaced his judges. So far, so good. I think we're off to a bad start already. But go ahead. We'll talk about throwing putters.
All right. He's got one praxis. That's thoughts-based athletics. Unsure of the plastic, but similar to Star, which I think would be like no, not. I'm not gonna say it because I'm not totally sure either. One zone and one pro rhino, not our pro. It's the oldest disc I own. Never less the bet.
All right. Mids, he carries a Justice, a Wasp, a Buzz, an MD3, two MD3s, and then I wonder if they're new or old.
Oh, I wonder.
So, and then a Svea.
Yeah.
So SVEA.
Yep.
So an awesome understable mid and approach.
Yep, that's Castoplast.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then fairways, he's got one hatchet, one essence, one instinct, two new FDs, and a Maverick.
All right. So I think we can assume that the MD3s are old since he identified the new
Right.
FDs.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right. And so we'll make that assumption. So if we're wrong again, Nikolai, just let us know. He has a Scorch for a distance driver. He put in parentheses distance. So he has a Scorch, an Era, and then he's taken some suggestions for 10 to 12 neutral discs.
Okay.
Said I'm fine at the easy distance, but I'm not brand loyal. So enjoy brands listed in my current bag. Okay.
Cool.
So I'll start by saying the links. I don't really have much. I mean, the fact that you went away from judges.
To me, links, I mean, I've held one or two. It's got a bead. It feels a little deeper
Than a judge.
than a judge to me. Like when I held a judge and when I held a link, I was like, ooh, this is almost like a dagger. Almost like it was pretty deep.
But they're not as stable, correct? Or are they just about the same?
I think they're just about the same.
Okay.
The Exosoft plastic is, but that might be a little more understable than like a regular.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
Than the regular plastic Exo medium or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I give you a hard time, I think putters are one of those things you can do it with anything within 30 feet. And anybody can argue with me about that. It's all about feel and comfort.
Yeah.
Like, I think the next, Jacob will talk about his putter. He doesn't have feel and comfort. And what he's putting with, I wouldn't say he shouldn't putt with them, but nevertheless, I think as long as you're comfortable with what you're putting with, I don't think that's an issue. If you like the deepness of it, try a dagger, try a mercy, try something like that. But if you're comfortable with those, like you said, so far so good, I say stick with them. Lean into it. And then try different plastics, because if you wanted to, I know there's a big stigma out there about having a different putter for your thrower than you have for your putting putter. I don't subscribe to that model.
I think they just I think the mantra that I keep hearing is don't throw your putting putter. Like don't throw the putters you actually use for putting. I know you do.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't, like I said, I just don't subscribe to that. Like it's comfort, it's feel. And why is the comfort different in a thrower than it would be in a putter? Maybe there's some logical reason for that. But for me, if I just put a disc in my hand and it feels right, I'm going to feel right throwing it or putting it. But I also putt with a power grip. I'll throw up air quotes.
Yeah.
I kind of putt with a power grip. All four of my fingers are under the rim. So, but I'm a pretty aggressive spin putter. So,
yeah.
Yep. As far as like I said, the throwing putters, I love the Zone. I love the Pro Rhino. I love Pro Rhinos. I have had them in my bag. I think both of those are great. And the Pro Rhinos is one of those kind of unicorns. They're hard to find right now.
Yeah.
And people love them. So I think either of those are great. I think one of those overstable approach discs where you can put it on forehand, it's going to kind of be a little more forgiving to angle sensitivity.
Rhino's a thumb track, right?
Rhino's a thumb track, yep. And then your Justice, your Wasp, Buzz, MD3. It seems like there's a lot of overlap there. Because I would almost put, Well, no, because they're the old MD3s. There's not that much overlap.
I still think the MD3s and the Buzz are pretty close.
They're very close.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say the MD3s and the Wasp, if they were the new MD3s, they're fairly similar, other than the new MD3s have much more glide than the Wasp.
Yeah.
But I would say they would be
Wasp
pretty
is
close.
still pretty overstable. Like, yeah. I mean, I threw
Is
the.
it?
I mean,
I haven't
it's
thrown one
a
in a while.
5403.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fairly overstable.
Okay.
Like I threw an Adam Hammis one for a while, and I liked it a lot as far as for like an overstable disc, and like the Justice, obviously that's even more overstable than the Wasp. And then like the two MD3s compared to the Buzz. I guess it just depends on the level of that they're beat into. Maybe they're just filling that gap where they're a little more less stable, like closer to Sevilla.
Right. And is he running S line? Is he running C line? Is he running? Yeah. So yeah, I guess you can see if you're layering them, I don't see an issue with that. But it does seem like you are pretty heavy on the overstable. Now, I don't know how far you throw. I don't know any of that stuff. I've never played with you, but it seems like if you're kind of maxing out at the 10 to 12 range, you're probably right in that range where I'm at.
Yeah.
And, Buzzes are straight throwers for me.
Yeah, same.
Old MD3s are about the same for me. But then the Wasp, the one that I threw, I felt like it was like an EMAC.
Okay.
But less glide. Not as glidey as an EMAC.
Definitely not as much glide as an EMAC,
Right.
but it finishes a little harder as well.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess with the 3 finish, yeah. So, in the Justice, I mean, it's a utility disc. Like, I don't have an issue with anybody on it. I've never thrown the Svea.
I threw the Svea for a while. It was my understable disc before I switched to the Origin.
Okay.
And I really liked it. And like the K1 plastic, it was like this nice kind of swirly K1 plastic. It feels really good.
I love Cactus plastic.
It tips up. Like if you throw it, on hyzer, it'll flip up to flat pretty well. Or you can throw it on anhyzer and it'll hold that anhyzer line really nice. So it's a really solid disc.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
And fairways, I don't have anything to criticize about the fairways. I think you're running from overstable to understable.
I was gonna say the Hatchet to me and the Essence are close, but the Hatchet's just a little faster.
Yeah, because I would consider more in that control driver speed, that 10.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there.
But I don't know if I would consider a Hatchet a control driver because it is beefcake. Isn't it? Or am I thinking of the wrong?
I'm trying to think. I've thrown one once. I thought it was like a -1 or a -2.
Oh, is it really? Okay, then I'm wrong.
I don't remember.
I can look it up while we.
And then the 2 new FDs, those are, it's just slightly less stable than the Instinct.
Okay.
For sure. And then the Maverick, I haven't thrown a Maverick in a while.
Okay.
But I know that the older FDs and the Maverick were fairly close.
They were, yeah. So,
but the new FDs are definitely straighter and have just a little bit more fade at the end.
Yes, yeah, more finish. The Maverick is a a shorter escape is the way that I feel.
Okay, yeah.
And the Maverick is one that it doesn't have a lot of that high-speed torque, so once it gets to a dump point, it dumps. Mm-hmm. And that was the difference like between the FDs and the Maverick, because I threw the Maverick in the river for quite a while.
Oh, yeah, I had the river too.
And the big difference between the river and the Maverick was that Maverick is that dump.
Yeah.
Is like once it gets to a point, it never comes back.
Sure.
Which is handy, but... but yeah, I mean, I like his lineup. I'll have to look up the Hatchet to see exactly what, because I really thought the Hatchet was overstable, but maybe I'm wrong. So then, if that's the case, the only thing that I see is that you don't have that utility fairway if the Hatchet is not overstable.
Yeah.
So something like a Felon, a Raptor,
FD3, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
FD3.
Those are hard to find, but they are coming out with new ones pretty soon.
Right. Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yep. And then your Scorch and Era. I like both of those discs. The Scorch has that micro bead on the bottom of it. I tried it really hard. I actually went on a trip to Florida and back, and I didn't put any driver except for the Scorch in my bagger bag where I only had about 6 discs. And I just couldn't get past it. It was something different about it. Because I feel like a micro bead or a bead on a driver tends to make nose angle that much more magnified.
Sure.
So if you throw it good, it goes real well. But if there's any nose angle that's wrong, like if your nose angle up, I think it really increases the stability of the disc. That's just my thought. Kind of like a putter.
Yeah.
In reality. So
Yeah.
but yeah. So my suggestion for a 10 to 12 neutral, I like the Era. I have to point you at an Era, of course. I like the Wraiths. I like the Graces.
Yeah, I was gonna say Grace. That's a good disc. I just put one in my bag.
Now those have a bit more stability than the Era, but you can get on them. They'll hold. They're not great headwind fighting discs. The Wraith is.
Yep.
But the Grace, I don't know if that would be because the only Grace I throw is a first run Grace. I love it, but if it gets turned over, it stays turned over.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah, the only Grace I've thrown is the new Halo Kristen Detaro ones.
Oh, the Orbit ones, yeah.
The Orbit ones, yeah. And then like a 12 speed, if you want to go that high, a lot of people, I threw them for a little bit. The Enigma, Discmania, it's kind of destroyerish with a little more glide. That's pretty good. The new Warbirds from Lone Star,
yeah.
Those are pretty good. Obviously, like if you want to get a little more stable, the new runs of DD3, in the new C line, those are definitely more stable.
Yeah, and even the PD. I mean, the PD has
PD
has some stability to it as well. So yeah, because you're looking at the Scorch and the Era, both of those can be fairly flippy. And then you get into something where you're getting a little more neutral, which would be like a Grace. Or that Wraith, and then you can step up into the DD3s and the PDs.
Or if you want to go less stable than the Scorch and the Era, you could reach for like a Hades or something,
Hades.
That you'll get a little more turn out of that.
Right. And then obviously one of the most underrated discs that I've all of a sudden found a passion for is the Trespass. It's a great disc. I mean, it's like I said, it's not prized as it used to be. Like, this is a great distance driver, all that stuff. Yeah. Especially the new Trespasses that are in that kind of ice plastic.
Oh, okay.
They're fantastic because they have a bit more stability to them. I love them. I mean, I love them. I have a Metal Flake one that's fairly understable. I have that, the Lucid X EMAC ones, which are money for me. But that Lucid Ice one that I have, and I haven't bagged it yet, but as I've been throwing it, it kind of falls right in between those two.
Okay.
So they're fantastic. So Trespass, what did I say? Grace, the Wraith, and then Hades. What else did we say?
You said PD.
PD and the DD3.
Yeah, or the Enigma. I said
Enigma. That's right. Yep. So
yeah, we said it all.
Yeah, so I think those good, and I would really push you to try in the Trespass. I mean, people love, and there's so much distance. They're so glidey. So there you go.
Nice.
All right, Jacob Kuhn. Here we go. So he goes on to basically say that he can throw up to about 300 feet. He's 41, tall and large. So he kind of mirrors me. He's about a couple years older, a year older than me, and then tall and large. And I'm 6 foot tall, and I'm definitely large. So he's probably taller than I am. So he kind of mirrors what he is, but he says he likes to throw 9 speeds pretty consistent. He jumps up to the 10, 11, and he can throw them okay. But his max distance is about 300 feet. He started about 15 months ago, so a little over a year ago, and he does currently reside in Germany. So let's get into it. So he has a decent list here. Distance drivers, starting off well. He has a Tatar Grace, and he says above my arm speed, but occasionally can hit it. And he says he has an ESP ? I'm assuming he's just not sure if it's quite ESP or not. Hades. And he says definitely above his arm speed. And he has an ESP Onyx. So fairway drivers.
He's got an Opto Explorer, an Opto Saint, which he said is his farthest throwing disc. Glimmer Opto Mall for hyzer flips or turnovers. A Neutron Sarah Hokum Crave, which he said he loves. A Lucid Maverick and a Lucid Vandal.
All right, mid-range, he's doing an Neo-Evolution Method. A Lucid EMAC Truth, Neutron Relay, a Gold X Fuse. He says he calls that his turnover disc. And then a Lucid Justice.
And then putters, he's got a BT medium harp. Not content this one. The rim doesn't feel comfortable, so I'm looking for a replacement. Okay. Electron from Envy, still testing this one as a throwing putter, not sold on it. And then a classic EMAC Judge.
All right. I would say overall thoughts, I think you're in the right realm with your distance drivers. I think you could use with a little less stability, and I think we just went over some of them. That Trespass is going to be much less stable than not much less, but it'll be less stable than the Star Grace. What else in that realm? Because I don't think the Wraith would suit him well. If he's saying that Star Grace, he can sometimes get it up to speed.
That's the same speed. I mean, go, like you just said, go in era.
Yeah.
10 speed, slightly unstable.
And you can get him in some pretty lightweights. You can get him in the mid 60s right now. So
like an orc.
Yeah, orcs would be good. What else is the 10? The Heat. We find a lot of success around here with beginning players that want that wide rim. We push them into heats. And then you can go into the Curl. Is that the Neg 2 from Lone Star?
From Lone Star? I think so.
No, that's a Neg 1. That's a 10 Neg 1. But that would probably work. Like a Glow Curl would probably be pretty good. And then the Guadalupe as well, which is a 10 Neg 3.
Oh, I thought that was only a 7.
Oh, is that a 7 or not? Which is the 9? Which one's the 9?
Oh, the 9. The new 9 is the Lariat. That's a 9.5 -1/1.
Oh, that would probably work too.
Yeah, that's like in the control driver area.
Yep. And then I look at the Opto Saint. I really, really like the Saint. I used to throw the Saint Pro quite a bit, which is actually slower and more stable. But I had the Saint as well. The issue I had with the Saint was the dominess. I don't like domi discs.
Yeah, I don't like them flat.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know if this is overlap or not, but the Saint and the Vandal to me are pretty close. I don't know.
I think the Vandal is less stable than the Saint.
Is it less stable? Okay.
Yeah, a lot. I feel that it's a lot less stable than the Saint. Because I know the Vandal is less stable because the Vandal is a 10. A 10 or a 9.
Okay.
And it's less stable than the Maverick. I had the Vandal.
Oh, so you think he went like instability here?
I think he almost went instability here.
Okay. Because I know the Maul is really understable.
Yes.
Okay.
But see, I've never thrown it but I think the Maul is a Neg 3, isn't it?
Neg 2 or Neg 3.
Yeah. So, but he says hyzer flip turnover.
Okay.
And Lucid Vandals, I don't know if I've ever come across one because I had Lucid X Vandals that I could put on a pretty severe hyzer. Now I throw, let's say conservative 375.
Yeah.
I can put them on hyzer and they will continue to turn over. So they fly a lot like kind of what I was talking about, the Grace once it hits that, or the Maverick once it hits that dump point, it goes. But this, you have to play it because it's going to get over. The Maverick we've talked about, the Crave, I've never thrown one.
I haven't either. I bet Caden has.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I hear great things about them, and I know a lot of beginning players love them.
I feel like they're a weird, like 6.5 speed disc. I'm not totally sure. There was some in the shop.
We still have some.
Yeah,
we still have a few of them. The Maul, the Saint, and the Explorer. I think is a great. I mean, it's a T-Bird 3.
I love the Explorer.
It's a fantastic disc. I'm FD heavy, so I don't need another FD.
I mean, I have FD2s. When I threw the Explorer, I had a really awesome first run Ricky Explorer that I ended up losing, but it was a great disc.
I remember throwing that in the Sister Bay Field. All right, so fairways. So for me, I think you're layered very good in your fairways, and especially since that's the top end of your flight. The Explorer, I don't know if that is something that is your main, but it looks like the Opto Saint is your biggest one. So the Saint Pro, if you can get a hold of one, is a fantastic disc because it just adds a bit of stability. So if you needed a headwind fighter and you feel comfortable, there's not much difference in the feel of the Saint and the Saint Pro, but they have a little bit more stability to them. And I could throw the Pro further than I could throw the Saint, even though it was a smaller.
I had that happen to me once too. I don't know why that was, but just that slight bit of, just a little bit slower that yeah, one day I was like just out throwing them both. I was like, holy cow.
Yep. Yep. It was something about it. And I don't know why, but that was what it was. But the River and the River Pro are the same as well. They do the same thing. And it's weird because I can throw the River Pro the further than I throw the River. But
Yeah.
I think I feel more comfortable getting on those two rather than watching the turnover. Okay, mid range. So the Method, the EMAC Truth, the Relay, the Goldex Fuse, and the Justice. So the Goldex Fuse, you said you run it as a turnover disc. I'm actually impressed by that because those Goldex Fuses, they got some stability to them. Now, not crazy stability, but as a turnover discs, I would imagine you're throwing it flat and letting it work to the right. So, yeah, and that's pretty good, especially if your top speed is about 300. I would assume what's happening is there's a bit of a nose angle control on those if that is turning over and dumping for you, because that's a good controllable, high torque mid. I don't know anything about the Relay.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Not really sure.
I know we have a few of them in the shop. I've just never thrown one. So Lucid EMAX Truth, if that's in the top end years, I think it's good. And the Method, I think those are fairly similar, aren't they?
The Method is similar to a Verdict.
Okay, so it's just
A
slightly
little,
more stable than a EMAC. Okay. So it looks like you got layered up pretty well here. And if that Goldex Fuse is turning over for you and playing that role, awesome. And the Relay, I'm assuming, is a pretty straight flyer for you. Hopefully, if that's the case, and then the Lucid Justice, that's a great. So let's get to your putters. It seems like that's where you would like the most help. So the BT Harp, if you're using that as a putting putter, I would suggest to try to push something a little more blunt and not as stable.
Overstable, yeah.
Yeah, because even at 30 feet, you're going to have some dump on that disc. So when it finishes, it's going to crash hard to the ground. You get something like the EMAC Judge, that's going to stay kind of flat, but you get into the deputy or marshal range, if we're going to go in the DD, that's going to stay straight, and when it dies, it's kind of dies off straight. It doesn't really fall hard to the left if you're backhand. The Envy is an amazing flying throwing putter. Every time I have thrown an Envy, it surprises me how far I throw it.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. If I get on an Envy, it doesn't dump to the right. It usually stands up, maybe drifts a little to the left or a little to the right, and then just finishes. And it's always a lot further than I thought I could throw it. I don't know what it must be the gyro technology.
Maybe, yeah.
So, but that's really all I have to say about those. If that is the Harp is your overstable, I didn't jive with the Harp either.
I used it for a while, but I found Zone was more comfortable in my hand.
Right. A lot of people like the Zone because it's not as deep.
Right. You could go tactic. If this spot is trying to fill that overstable approach disc or whatever that is, if that's the slot you're looking for. Yeah, that's just a couple of the discs that you could try.
Suspect is a good one, and they're actually just coming out with some new Lucid X Chameleon Suspects.
Yeah,
they're fantastic looking. And another one you can try in this putter range, and it's a fairly forgiving putter, is that Casaplast Berg. And getting it in a softer plastic makes it sticky. So I have a K1 soft and I have a K1, just K1.
Definitely a different feel than the Harp for sure. Because with that thumb track, concave top, you're gonna, your hand will fit it fine on it.
Yes.
But it's just a different feel that you have to get used to.
Right.
And the EMAC, if that's your putting putter.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that's not, but maybe it is. And then the Envy is a throwing putter. I love the Envy as a throwing putter. There's a lot of discs similar to that, you can just, the Praxis gets brought up a lot. The Pure, is a good throwing putter, depending on, and getting a nice stable plastic for that.
Yeah.
Lucid Judges are really good throwing putters. It just comes down to what you're comfortable with. That's always, when putters, that's the main thing. Comfortability.
And when I went with, I have putted with Judges for a long time. When the EMAC Judges came out, I immediately put 2 of them in my bag.
Yeah.
And it was a Judge of another name.
Sure.
I did not notice appreciable enough difference to make any change in my bag. They didn't feel different. They were slightly shallower, and the bead wasn't as pronounced, but it didn't make a change in my hand.
Sure.
So I felt just as comfortable putting those as I did the Judge. You know, so if I was anywhere and I didn't have something and there was an EMAC Judge, easily grab that, easily replaceable. So I would say just if it feels good in your hand, keep putting with it. And if you're looking for an overstable, you know, we gave you some options for it. But I always try to push someone into that utility disc. I always try to push them towards that Berg, because that Berg is just a fantastic disc. It's hard to overthrow targets with a Berg. It doesn't skip away, and it doesn't finish one way or the other very hard. It's not angle sensitive. So,
or for a throwing putter, grab one of those new Sky God 4s we were talking about.
Exactly. They are great throwers. So there you go, sir. I think it's all good. I think the one thing that Nikolai just needs to do is drop those links.
Or Jacob, you mean?
No, I'm saying
Nikolai. Oh.
He just needs to drop the links and bring back the judges, because why would you ever go away from them? and then Jacob, like I said, I try pushing a trespass into your bag, kind of a mid-level or mid-weight trespass, like 169 to 172, somewhere around in that area. And, you know, give it a lucid or even the biofusion, because they'll break in real quick. But I think you'll end up liking that, because if you like the Explorer or the Saint, and the Saint is one of the furthest flying ones, it's going to be more stable than the Saint. But I think once you get it up to speed, it's going to be pretty good. And it's an 11 speed. So there you go. All right. So let's talk about the Preserve. The Preserve is, if you want to send any more, doordisc.com, or throw@doordisc.com. And you can send some to him, or you can hit us up on any of our social medias. So Preserve Championship just played. Let's talk about the course first.
Yep.
I loved it. I got a lot of flack. It wasn't testing pros or anything. I stand on the other side of the aisle that I love the fact that pros were able to go out there and I think I said this last time, but pros were just able to go out there and throw and try to put up an amazing score. Mm-hmm. And they had, you know, in the way they changed it, they had some backdrops where pros could run it. You know, and Bradley Williams proved that with one of those turnover bags, like 240-foot throw-in or something like that. Yep. Fantastic. Because he had a backdrop he could throw into. Yeah. So he wasn't afraid of running it. He wasn't laying up. He wasn't playing golf. Yeah. So I loved the course. I think he needs to continue to do what he's doing with it. And I think it's a fantastic change from a lot of the courses that we've seen on the Pro Tour.
Right. It's interesting because, you know, it was a golf course, and people say it's still, you know, that golf course golf.
Yeah, the big hyzers.
Right. There's a couple changes this year that were made. I mean, there's a lot of really long holes that just tested distance, which was kind of fun to watch. But even then, you know, there's a couple island holes where, you know, you just have to hit those placement putts. Long grass, you know, we saw some of that long grass come in contention in the final round that caused, you know, some scoring separation here and there. Mm-hmm. When I played the links course when the Preserve first opened, and I thought it was a lot of fun. For being such an open course, it was still challenging, but you know that was the easiest course at the time that was made. You know, the Black Bear course is much more difficult. You know, it takes all three courses into it. Right. But you know, I think like you said, the course is made to be able to score well on. Right. And you know, I apparently, you know, pros just keep praising Kill for what he's done with it.
This style of course and land and property is what disc golf, I believe, should start transitioning to or progressing towards. And this idea that there's only one right disc golf course for the tour is so ridiculous to me. Just like live or post-produced. Mm-hmm. They both suit a very specific need. Right. They're not competing with, they're competing with one another, but they're not filling the same niche. Yeah. Because I like live sometimes when I have the time. If not, post-produce is fantastic for me.
And then, well, it's funny too, because obviously when I watch post-produce, I'll go watch Joe Benz or GK Pro or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, Disc Golf Network comes out later with their own. They'll put out the live coverage as
Yes.
post-produced, so you can watch the live feed. I will not go to that. I
No,
will just
never.
watch the Jomez Pro, because it's edited down for you to like fit that, whatever
Exactly.
time you have.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm gonna want to watch something live, I'll watch it live.
Right. And the drama and the suspense that is built through live is fantastic when it's live. Once it's not live and I know the results, like, I don't care. I just want to see how it got there.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
editing those shots down is fine. Also, we're going to talk about commentary. I'm really harsh on Doss. I thought he did a good job. I thought him and Terry, I thought they worked well together this time.
They're fine.
I mean, nothing that like blew my mind, but I wasn't annoyed.
Okay, yeah.
If that makes any sense.
There was a funny shot where I forgot, was it round 2, where he was talking about, oh, you don't usually see throw-ins from this distance, and then like I think it was no, it wasn't Simon. It was Calvin ended up throwing it in.
Oh yeah, exactly.
He's
Yep.
like, well, you really proved your point there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's funny. I mean, that's what some of that live stuff, comes to. I think for their dynamic, I'm always just like, oh my goodness, like stop droning on and on.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just I don't know, maybe it was just my mood, but it didn't hit me that way this time.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was actually better or not better. I haven't heard anything one way or the other, but it wasn't nails on a chalkboard for me.
Yeah.
So awesome. Maybe he's doing something. I didn't hear him continually say a name over and over again. So I thought it was fantastic. Like I don't know if I want to say fantastic. I think that's too good of a.
Man, that's pretty high praise.
Yeah, it's not fantastic, but it did not insult me, and it never insulted me. But I don't know the proper word.
Well, I mean, it wasn't butter on bread.
Yeah, it wasn't the butter on the bread. Yeah. So, but yeah, so huge payouts though. $8,000 for Bradley Williams and $5,000 for Paige Pierce. That's amazing. Those
That's
are
really
huge
awesome.
payouts. Those are great payouts.
They got the rings
Yep.
and
And the
their-
name on the trophy.
Yep.
Name on the bear.
On the bear.
Yeah. So great. I mean, I loved what happened. I think any course or any pro tour event or professional disc golf, if they can start moving them to compounds like that, Eagles Crossing,
Yep.
things like that, I think it's a future of the sport. I don't think we should abandon tightwood courses, but I think if we can offer both, I think it's fantastic. And I think the Preserve doesn't offer that tight-wooded course, but it offers some I guess variety
Yeah.
in toss.
It does.
It's not just wide open Vegas course.
And I think, if Kale kind of, obviously it's maintained well, but I think, the elements, if you can get those natural OB, I mean, there's really no OB. Like, it was
No.
just the tall grass you're playing through and everything,
Yeah.
and that caused some bad footing. But, like, if you let it kind of get to that wild but yet trimmed feel to it, I think that's great.
I agree.
As long, and, you can keep those fairways a little tighter. Just let that overgrowth grow in a little bit. So you just have to play your spots well with like landing zones.
Yeah. In approximately 3 weeks, no, maybe about 4 weeks, we're going to be playing on a course that does that very well, and I've never heard anybody complain about it, is a toboggan. That's the same thing they do.
Yeah.
They trim them up very well. They let everything else just grow. And people complain about the ticks.
Yeah.
But outside of that, people like that course. It's an iconic course. People love it. And I don't hear anybody really complain about it at all. They do have artificial OB, but for the most part, they mow fairways, and the rest of it, they kind of let it go.
Right.
I mean, it's not like you lose a disc if it goes there, but pretty darn close.
Sure.
So, all right, U.S. Women's Championship. We want to make our picks for that?
You don't want to go over our picks from the
Oh, yeah, we
Preserve?
do got to go over our picks. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is what we did for the Preserve. So we had Kondonki with us, Caden Stalkey with us last time. So we'll give his picks too. So we'll start with FPO. So I went Mandahano, Pierce, Merch. And then JP went Pierce, Hansen, Mandahano. And then Caden went Katrina Allen, Mandahano, Hansen. So I think I did the worst out of 3 of us. because I had Merch and Mandahano in the top 3. But I had Perch number 2. Or Pierce. I had Pierce number 2. Pierce, Hansen, Mandahano. JP, I think you kind of killed it with that because you had Pierce, Hansen, and that was what, 1-2? Or did Katrina end up pulling into second?
No, she was 4th. Katrina
4th, okay.
But yeah, Ella tied for 2nd with Missy.
Yep. And then Katrina, Mandahano, and Hansen. So Caden didn't do too bad. Where did Mandahano end up finishing?
She ended up finishing 13th, tied with Macy Valaditas.
So not horrible. And where did Merch end up?
Cat Merch, man.
Was she even in the equation?
No, she...
Did she drop out? And I didn't know about
I thought I saw something about her at a wedding.
Oh, boo hiss. Come on, Merch, you got to call me on these things.
I don't even see her.
Just shoot me a message and say, hey, sorry, not being gone here.
I don't think she was at this event,
all right.
Shane.
So that would be a good reason why I sucked. So, all right. So,
oh boy.
MPO, I picked Lizotte, Heimberg, and Smith. Brody Smith, you let me down dramatically. I'm still with you though, buddy. But you got to step up the game.
You be that champion.
Man. So, I'm not too far off on Lizotte. What was he, 4th? 3rd or 4th?
He tied with Kyle Klein for 3rd.
Okay, 3rd. And then Heimberg. Where did he finish up?
He tied 11th.
Okay. Not great. So Heimberg, Lizotte, and Burr is who you chose. Mm-hmm. Where did Burr finish?
He finished 6th.
Okay. And then Wasaki, Lizotte, and Heimberg for Caden.
Yeah, and Saki, man, it came down to the last hole.
Yeah. Well, the second to last hole is kind of where it ended, right?
Well,
because Bradley cleared the water, and at that point, he didn't even need to clear the water. All he had to do was lay up, then lay up again.
But he saw Ricky's throw, and then Ricky ended up going in. Oh no, what happened there? I forgot. They were tied.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, they weren't tied. The hole before they were tied.
No. Bradley hit the birdie on 17.
Yes.
Yep. So he was up 1, and then Ricky had to eagle, and then ended up in the long grass, and then misfortunate putt throw. And, So.
Yep.
I mean, there was a little drama, but
yeah. So it ended up being 32 under to 30 under. So he ended up winning by 2 strokes. Yeah. But so congrats to Bradley Williams, and congrats to, it looks like, probably Caden. Caden got the better picks. He got Wasaki, Lizotte, and then Heimberg. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess Burr. I don't know. Who knows? But you had Heim. Yeah. It was Caden. So I was really nowhere on the map in either of these choices this year or this one. So, let's move on to something else. I'm not going to pick well. The U.S. women. So the news is Tatar's not there. Mm-hmm. And then outside of that, there's really no big news to be shared.
Nothing I know of
about it. So if we want to make our choices,
it's in Madison, which is exciting. I think we mentioned that before.
It is, yes. Backyard. So that's kind of right in our backyard. And I just got a text that Jordan bought a new car, so that's cool.
Wow!
I don't know what it is, but all right. So U.S. women. Hey, I'm clicking on it. Why aren't you opening? So I'm gonna go way out on a limb here.
Ooh.
And say that Pierce is going to win.
Way out there.
Yeah.
Way out there.
I'm going to take Alan in 3rd, Katrina, and then what?
Oh, I'm just surprised. You went 1, 3, and then left 2.
Because it was just my feels.
What kind of play you got going on here?
Just going on with my feels.
Yeah.
I'm trying to change it up from last week because obviously I sucked. And then I'm going to go with Hansen. Let's put Hansen number 2. I just had a good conversation with some of our old teammates that were in the shop, and they had a lot of high praise for her. So you know what? I'm going to go with them.
What?
And it was 2 of her friends from Portland. They were up here visiting. And
no.
I'm serious.
What?
Yeah, there used to be like old the girl that I spoke with, or lady that I spoke with, was from Portland and used to play on her ultimate team. And then her husband, I'm making assumptions, her husband, was also an Ultimate player.
Oh, wow.
And they used to play together.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it was the kind of the 11 degrees to Kevin Bacon, kind of 11 degrees to Ella Hansen. So, all right, sir. How about you?
Let's see. Okay. I'm going to take number 3. I'm going to put Owen Scoggins.
Scoggins.
Number 2, Missy Gannon.
Oh, bad choice.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't want to pick Paige. I just picked her last week. It seems like it's almost too easy.
Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Let's take a shot in the dark here. Evelina Salonen.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Is that just to
Whatever.
roll the dice?
Yep.
And that's the name that came up, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Do you have a crystal ball that I don't know about?
No. But she played well at the preserve. I'm like, maybe she figured something out. Maybe putting's not so bad for her.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give it to you. It seems. Well, okay. Sounds good. All right. So here we go.
Extreme. It's no worse than picking Brody Smith third.
It is worse than picking Brody Smith for third. Because at least I put him at the bottom of the list and said, meh, I'm just feeling good and I want to help him out. So obviously I'm never going to pick him for a list again because he was doing much better when I didn't pick him for a list. So my bad, Brody. All right, here we go. Pizza Styles.
Oh, we didn't even go over MPO.
Oh, how are we going to go over MPO for
okay.
U.S. Women's Championship?
I'm so used to picking Idlewild, right? Idlewild. Good God. Long day. Sorry.
That's good. I mean, we can pick them if you want to, but I'm not going to pick anyone. So
MP4, FP4,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm tired.
so there you go. All right, here we go. God. What reigns supreme? Air quotes supreme with Pizza Styles. So I got written down just for some ideas. I don't know how big of a pizza connoisseur you are, but there's Chicago, there's New York, there's New Haven, there's Neapolitan. There's box pizzas.
Yeah.
DiGiorno.
Big question. What's New Haven style?
New Haven is more of a thinner brick oven. They do kind of a more cheese to sauce ratio.
Okay.
New York is large slice,
Yep.
kind of floppy.
Yep.
Chicago, deep dish.
Yeah. Yep.
Neapolitan. That's just mozzarella, basil, tomato.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll ask the secondary question after you choose.
Right. Probably going to catch a lot of flack. I mean, I like Chicago, okay? Mm-hmm. Too much sauce for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lasagna. Without the noodles.
Right, like sauce on top, then the cheese.
Yeah.
My wife's family grew up in Chicago, and my wife's dad was a huge pizza connoisseur, like Lou Malnati's for life. Pretty much, he would bring it up for holidays. That's what we have.
Yeah, because you can buy them frozen from
you,
Illuminati's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, from the shop.
Yeah, from the shop. Yeah, and he would bring them up.
When I was in college, we had somebody that lived real close, and he would bring them up all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's kind of how I am, too. Yeah. I think the problem is, growing up with the traditional style pizza. I'm like, sauce on top. Okay, great.
Yeah. Exactly.
What the deep dish crust I like.
Sure.
The thin, or I mean, not thin, but the thicker crust and there's something good about that. Mm-hmm. I'm a big, growing up eating Sbarro.
Yes.
I'm a New York, I guess. I like New York style. Big floppy.
In the mall, I'd always ask him to make it extra crispy.
Yeah. So they'd take it and stick it in the oven for you.
Stick it back in the oven. Oh,
yeah.
So great.
Yeah. I don't know. I like looking at the pizza, then seeing him scoop it, it's just huge across the plate. I'm like, yes.
When it's all three corners are hanging off the plate. Yeah.
What about? I was gonna bring this up because I just saw a picture of it actually. Do you remember in school, like getting hot lunch and they
The square pizza?
The square pizza?
Absolutely.
Yes.
All over it.
Oh yeah.
I hated the sausage, but cheese, I was all over it.
Yeah.
The sausage was always garbage.
But it was like, it had that weird cracker crust on the bottom. You're
Yes.
like, what the heck is this? It's like saltines, like soggy saltines on the bottom of your crust.
Yep. And everybody was so pissed off if they got that corner piece because there was always a couple corner pieces from the sheet tray, and nobody liked them.
Right.
Like I always loved the center, gooey, nasty. Like, yeah. I would get super excited when pizzas came around. When school pizza came around. I'm actually, my mouth is watering and I shouldn't be because it wasn't that good. Yeah, I'm okay with it. So for me, that's more New York style Sbarro. So you're a New York guy. For me, I really like all of them. I wouldn't say no to any of them.
Yeah, right. It's like pizza. It's like not.
Yeah, what's wrong with pizza? There's things you shouldn't put on pizza, or maybe you should. But like Chicago style, I think it's just too much of a meal. For me, like that's like a meal, like one slice or scoop or however you want to say it.
I eat 2 at the max, maybe.
Yeah, at most. New York style, like it can get big, but man, they can get greasy. Like they can get super greasy.
Yeah.
New Haven is kind of really light, thin. You can just pound those things. Like kind of has almost not a cracker crust, but they're light and delicate. Like you can just eat an entire pizza and not even feel it. Well,
like eating a Tombstone or a Jack's pizza.
Exactly. That's kind of how it feels. I mean, it's so much better flavor. In the Neapolitan, it's just who wants green stuff on pizza? That's my only issue with Neapolitan. I'm not a huge fan of just basil leaf sitting on it. But if I have to pick out of any of them, I think I'm going to have to go New York style as well. But it has to be well done because I don't want a pizza that's going to fill me. Like I want a pizza that I can just eat a ton of. Yeah. And I think the New Haven is good, but like they don't put toppings on New Haven for the most part. I mean, they will, but for the most part, it's not New Haven. New York style, like I just love it. You can put anything on it, but like just pepperoni New York style, like I'm good with it. So my favorite pizza of all time is a place in Westchester, Miami called Frankie's Pizza. Okay. They're square slices. Yeah. It's like this really doughy kind of, and I hate to compare it to like Pizza Hut pan pizza, that style of crust where it's kind of like bubbly and greasy. But they have these tiny little pepperonis and the cheese is like square. Like when they sprinkle it on, it's like square. So some of it melts, some of it doesn't. But it has just this astounding flavor and like a super crunchy crust. Like it's so good. But it's also, I guess, like this emotional, cerebral connection I have because it's from my childhood. Sure. Like when I lived there, that's where we would go all the time. It's so good, but it's called Frankie's Pizza and it's in Westchester, Miami. It's so good. So good. Off of Bird Road. There you go. I even remember. It's like Bird Road and 40th. Or like 44th or something like that. Like I know exactly where it's at. Crazy. Super, super good. But the pepperoni, they're like really tiny and they kind of cup up in a bowl. I hate that. Really? Yes. And they get the crispy top?
Like, because it cups all the grease.
Yes. Yeah. Pig fat? Yes. So, anyways. All right. So, this is the serious conversation. This, just so you guys know, might be the end of the podcast if he chooses the wrong thing here. Because there's certain things that should go on pizzas. There's certain things that shouldn't. How are you for pineapple?
Why, yes. Pizza? They shouldn't be on pizza.
Okay. Okay, good.
No, that should not touch pizza. I don't know why people insist on Hawaiian pizza. No.
It's garbage. So my dad, God rest his soul, he loved Domino's pizza. Yeah. Thin crust, Hawaiian style. Oh. Is so gross.
Oh, man.
So gross. And that was all that was ever left when we'd order pizzas. We'd never eat it.
It's left because he's the only one that would eat it.
Exactly.
He's like, whoa, I guess I'm having leftovers because I'm the only one that eats it.
Oh, it was so bad. This stuff is so gross. I mean, Domino's, but even like, still.
Yeah, and I hate the people that are like, oh, just pick it off. Pick it off. No, because the
juice is all up in it.
Yes. Exactly.
The only two toppings that belong together on a pizza is pepperoni and black olive.
Okay.
Have you ever had pepperoni and black olive
Yeah.
pizzas?
Yeah. Oh, Papa Murphy's used to have it's called like a cowboy style pizza or something,
Okay.
and it had pepperoni and black olives, and there was something else with like the cheese and stuff. But it was pretty.
Okay.
It was decent.
Yeah. See, I'm like just straight pepperoni and black olive. And if I'm feeling like a little more frisky, it's pepperoni and bacon. And that's it. Every once in a while, maybe green olive because the saltiness is pretty
Yeah.
good. But black olive, like I'm for it.
I'm all about the barbecue pizza, barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken. You know, we had a really good one. I'm kind of ashamed to say it, but when Dave owned the gas station, he used to have an old barbecue chicken pizza there. It was
okay.
so good. It was
Yeah.
so good.
And there's a good one in, shoot, it's kind of a franchise in Minnesota. I forgot what it's called. Listen, I used to go there. But she took me there, and I was like, oh, this pizza's really awesome. Dang it, I can't think of the name of it.
Pizza Ranch has pretty good barbecue chicken pizza too.
Pizza Ranch does?
It's so good. I don't know why. So I don't know if they use the leftover fried chicken for it or something, but it's so good.
Ooh.
It is good. It is
They
good.
just chop, chop, chop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put some barbecue sauce and they're good to go.
It's moist.
Yeah,
Chicken's
moist. All right, shop updates. Here we go. We're getting a Discraft restock, a DD restock, an Innova restock, a Lone Star Disc
You
restock.
really wanted to restock into it, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't. That's why I tried to just hide it in there. Thanks for pointing it out. But we are getting an Innova restock. We did have the Sky Gods. We still have a few more. Zing Minis should be here. Actually, I think the confirmation was Friday. We'll have them in stock. And that'll be the owl stamp on the Zing. And we have Picos and Cosmos.
What's that?
They're just the ones with all the sparkle and
Oh, cool.
stuff in them. So we have the Picos, which are the can toppers, and then we have the
Regular meat.
Cosmos. I'm pretty sure they're Cosmos. Yeah. But keep in mind, www.doordisc.com. We had 50 bills from a 50 to a 1 envelopes. We throw them inside every online order. So even if you're local and you want to order something through online and do a local pickup, we'll have it ready for you and you'll get an envelope. As long as it's through our website. So www.doordisc.com. Sky Gods, Lone Star, DD, Discraft, and yes, even Innova. So there you go. Anything else?
Oh, well.
Oh, OnlyFans, it's coming.
No.
Here it goes.
No, that's not what I was going to say.
Come on.
We're kind of working on some merch ideas right now.
Oh, yeah.
So be on the lookout for that. We're talking to some people, and we might have something in the works.
And stuff that might make your tootsies look good. So there you go. And JP can take pics for his OnlyFans in them.
Oh, my goodness.
See? There you go.
Perfect.
All right. Keep us up par. Peace.